Hiya! Welcome! I have been tagged in a challenge. In fact, I've been tagged in 2 of these tag challenges. I'm just going to do this one. This one is called Money's Funko Quarantine Challenge. And I was tagged by a great friend of mine, fantastic YouTuber, and he's a Patreon supporter of mine as well, Crazy Stone Gamer. So thank you, Crazy. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate you tagging me. He's actually tagged me in 2 challenges, but I've only decided to do the one. I think 2 is a little bit overkill. I preferred this one. It's more thorough. The other one is the Ultra Applesauce Pick 3 challenge, I think. I have to be honest, I looked at that and I wasn't overly keen. But this one has got a lot of interesting questions. As for Money's Funko Quarantine, I wasn't sure who Money was. I think I found him on YouTube, Money's Funko Pops. So he's the originator of this tag challenge. Thank you for starting this. And of course, thanks again to Crazy Stone Gamer for tagging me in it. The object of this, there's 14 questions, so quite a lot to go through. And then at the end of this, I have to tag 3 of my fellow YouTubing friends. So let's just get going with it, shall we? Question 1 is, which is your favourite pop line to collect? Really, for me, it has to be the WWE Funko Pops. There's a few lines that I really love. The Office, but I didn't really pick that as my favourite, as for me, it's still a pretty small line in its infancy, really. Whereas the wrestling pops, the WWE ones, there's still ones that I need, still ones that I want, albeit like the really expensive grails. It's like an ongoing thing, it's like always a sort of quest, really, to complete that. I also love ad icons. Anyone who's watched my channel for more than 5 minutes will know that. That's a great line. There again, that one is always kind of a quest, as there's always ones out there that I need. But it's got to be WWE because I'm a big wrestling fan. I just think the pops are really fun and they release new waves every so often, so there's always more to look forward to. And like I say, there's some of the older ones that, due to the price on the second-hand market, I may never get, but you never know your luck. Question 2, if you could only collect one franchise, which would it be? I think this has really got to be the same answer as question 1, simply because I find collecting the WWE pops so much fun. I would say the WWE ones, if I had to get rid of all the others. I mean, I'd be really loath to get rid of a lot of my cool ad icons. I'd be really disappointed to get rid of like my Office pops. I've got a few really cool pop rocks now as well, but if I could only collect one franchise or one line, it would be the WWE. Question 3, how far have you travelled for a pop? Not very far at all. In fact, I've only ever bought Funko Pops from in-store once, and I think I've got almost 200 Funko figures now, and out of all those, there's only 2 of them, and that'll be Kurt Angle and Sergeant Slaughter that ever bought in store. They were from a place in the UK, a toy store called The Entertainer. That was my local branch in a town called Chesterfield, near to where I live. They weren't really impulse purchases as such, but they were just on sale, they were reduced at the time. At that point I was sort of wondering whether to get more in the WWE line, and those purchases of Kurt Angle and Sergeant Slaughter prompted me to just try and fill in as many gaps in that collection as possible. But I didn't travel very far to do it. Chesterfield is, I think, about 5 miles from me, so there we are, that's not very far at all. The vast majority of my Funko shopping is online. Question 5, what is your favourite pop retailer in-store and online? Well, in-store, I mean, like I said, I've only ever shopped for pops in The Entertainer when it comes to in-store. I want to pick a different place though, even though I've never bought any from there. I want to pick Forbidden Planet International simply because I remember, I think this was back in 2015, and I was in Forbidden Planet International, a great comic store in Nottingham, and at that point Funko Pops weren't sort of massive as they are now, but they were getting more prominent, and I saw a lot of the early WWE ones in there, like Andre the Giant and the Ultimate Warrior, ones that of course I've subsequently added to my collection after I started collecting in 2018. I want to pick Forbidden Planet International simply because it was there in that store in Nottingham, which is a city not too far from me, where I was first exposed to Funko Pops, if you will. Online, a difficult one because I've got 2 or 3 really recommended online retailers and websites. I really like Hull Pops, and they are an affiliate of mine, so please go and check them out. Culture Freak, although I don't use them that often as they've got a more limited choice, they do really specialise in a way in sort of your really high-end grails. So if you're in the UK or Europe and there's like a really sort of high-end vaulted pop that you want, then I would recommend checking out Culture Freak. But at the moment, for me, my favourite online retailer for Funko figures will be Glass Shelf Collectibles. I've had some great experience with them. I think their prices are very competitive. We managed to get a few of the exclusives in that maybe other places like Pop in a Box or whoever may not get in. I'm just really impressed with GSC every time I've used them, so I'm going to say Glass Shelf Collectibles. Question 6 is, who is your favourite Funko YouTuber? I was dreading this question. Can't have just say me. I've done that. That's really arrogant. Yeah. I've got a few. None of the big ones, really. I don't watch the big ones particularly. I do like to support all my friends who decide to come on YouTube in their spare time and just show their collection and show what they've bought. I give my support to all those, and all of you know who you are. If I watch you and I comment on your videos, then you know that I enjoy what you do. Number 7, do you use PPG or the Funko app? Well, I use the Funko app. It's mainly for convenience. I preferred it back when it was Stashpedia and you could share your wish list. It made it easy for sort of Secret Santa things and acts of kindness, and I don't know why Funko won't release that feature again on the updated Funko app. I've been on the PPG website before, but because there isn't like a dedicated app and I'm mainly using mobiles and tablets, then it's just easier for me to load up the Funko app, especially when I'm producing a video and I need glam shots and value information on certain figures. Just get into the Funko app, search up a figure, and there we are. It's quick and simple. I think the Funko app do use the PPG valuations though. It always says PPG value underneath the glam shot, doesn't it? So I don't see how there would be really any difference now. Or maybe there is, I don't know. There's a really good app that's a British app here in the UK called the Pop Directory. Sadly, I've never used it simply because it's only available for Android devices and I use iOS or Apple devices. It's really good, that app, from people who do use it tell me, because they take into consideration all the UK sales from eBay and a few other UK retailers, whereas for me, looking on the Funko app, that's all sort of based on American sales, so the figures can be quite different and not accurate pertaining to my location. But the Funko app's alright, serves a purpose. It helps me catalogue my collection and get a vague idea of how much things are worth. Like I said, it helps me with images and things that I need for videos. Number 8, which pop in your collection is worth the least? Now then, this was one of a couple of questions I did make sure I looked up before I started filming. Apparently, as of me recording this today, the pop that's worth the least in my collection as of today is Ernst Stavro Blofeld from James Bond, which I think is a great pop, and it was one of the first ones that I got when I was just starting out collecting that. Apparently that's currently valued, although like I say, it will be an American value really, but converted into pounds, that value is £4 at the moment. Number 9, which pop in your collection is worth the most? That's Rey Mysterio. I mean, I knew it would be before I even looked it up. The current valuation of Rey Mysterio as I speak today is something like 138. I'll put the glam shot up on screen and you'll be able to see what the exact valuation is as of me recording this. It's something like 138, which is amazing to me because it's not that long ago I bought Rey Mysterio and I paid, I think, £62 or £63 for it. Even though supposedly Funko Pop valuations are meant to be dipping, Rey Mysterio has supposedly doubled in value for me. Go figure. Question 10. Which flopped pop in your collection is your favourite? Well, this is a very easy question for me to answer because I've only got one flopped pop, and that is the Jeffrey the Giraffe. the Toys R Us Add Icons exclusive. I unboxed that, quite some time ago. It might be getting on for a year since I originally bought that. A good pop. I think I paid a pretty good price for it from eBay, I think. I don't actually like the feel of flocked pops. I'm quite sensitive to sort of felt feelings and couldn't really bear to touch it for very long. But that doesn't matter because all my Add Icons remain in box, so I only got him out very briefly. And they do recommend that with flocked pops, you should really keep them in box, simply because the felt that is there to make the sort of fuzzy effect on the figure is just real dust magnets. If you're going to keep your pops as nice as possible, if they're not flocked, it doesn't really matter. But if they are flocked, the recommendation is to keep them in box because they just start getting all dirty and grubby from dust pretty quickly. Number 11, which pop in your collection has the coolest mould? Oh dear, that's a tough one. I'm sort of glancing around, trying to decide really. Actually, I think my 6-inch Davros, I really like the mould on that. I mean, that's just a really cool figure. Obviously, it's shaped kind of different to a normal pop because we've got Davros's head and a bit of his body, and then we've got that kind of part of a Dalek. I mean, I suppose Davros, the Doctor Who character, was kind of like that. It's sort of a mashup almost of two different things, like some sort of weird looking guy and then a Dalek. So the mould on that is cool. So yeah, I'm going to pick Davros there. Not a pop I've had for that long, but I found him at a price I was absolutely delighted with. I think including postage, he didn't come out to more than £15 and it's been vaulted for quite some time and he just looks really cool. Number 12, which pop in your collection do you think has the most room for improvement? Oh, blimey, this is another difficult question. I mean, I like all the pops in my collection. There's some that I've kind of collected because I was excited when they came out, and now looking back it's like, well, they were alright. Like the Modern Family line, for instance. I mean, I don't think they're ever going to be anyone's favourite line because they just have these actors, these people, and they're great pops, and I've got them in my cabinet. They're a little bit on the sort of dull side really, especially when, and I'm not a Marvel collector or a Star Wars collector, but I know many of you are, and there's just so many really interesting looking pops, really unique figures out there in just those two lines alone. For me, I think Add Icons is where it's at for me when it comes to really interesting characters, because you've got all sorts of weird and wonderful creatures. You know, you've got your Domino's Noid, and you've got your Geoffrey the Giraffe, you've got your Green Giant, and your Kool-Aid Man, and Tony the Tiger, blah blah blah. So I think Add Icons, Funko have it pretty much nailed on straight away. I don't know if I can single out a particular pop. I always said that probably the most boring pop in my collection, I think I might have said this in a previous tag, was Claire Dunphy from Modern Family. So I'll say she needs the room for improvement. The paint job on her is kind of slapdash, I will say. And as figures go, she isn't massively interesting to look at. But that was a line that I wanted to collect, and I did, and I'm glad I've got her. So I don't really like to speak negative of any of my figures. And I think I've just answered number 13 in what I said in number 12, because question 13 is which pop in your collection is your least favourite. So there we are, Claire Dunphy, Modern Family. And question 14, the last question, is which pop in your collection is your all-time favourite? Well, this has changed a couple of times in recent times, and I've talked about this before in other tag videos. For a long time, my favourite was Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the NWO variant, and that is still top 3 for me. I think it probably always will be. That is just such a cool Funko Pop, and it was my first proper grail as well that I was able to get. There's lots of honourable mentions, but still, at least for the time being, until I change my mind, my current favourite Funko Pop, my all-time favourite, or the favourite at the moment, is my 10-inch Tony the Tiger. All the 10 inches, even from lines that I've not really much interest in, like Star Wars, they all look really cool to me. I just like that kind of jumbo size. They take up a lot of space. I mean, that's the worst thing about these 10 inches. But the original Tony, and I think there was a flocked Tony the Tiger as well, they go for just absolutely batshit money on the second-hand market now. So when I saw that the 10-inch Tony the Tiger was available at a not inconsiderable but sensible price for me, a UK collector, not long after it came out, had to have it. Loving ad icons, being fond of the Tony the Tiger character from growing up. Of course, he's the mascot for Kellogg's Frosties, which is what we in the UK call Frosted Flakes, by the way. I got him and I was absolutely delighted. He's never come out of his box yet. Probably won't, not until I find some way of displaying 10-inch pops effectively that doesn't take up the room that they take up now. Yeah, Tony the Tiger is my choice of my all-time / current favourite. So there we are, that was my Money's Funko Quarantine Challenge. I've got to tag 3 people now. The first person I will tag will be because I mentioned this challenge to him yesterday, and he said because he's got a lot of time on his hands at the moment with being off work due to the global situation, I will tag the Geeky Heathen. He enjoys a tag video and I know he will enjoy this one. Next, I will tag the Pop-Tart, one of my favourite Funko YouTubers, as is Geeky Heathen. Good friend of mine, they both are. I'll be really interested to hear, even though a lot of these answers are going to be Star Wars related, because he's just collecting only Star Wars seemingly at the moment. He occasionally gets a Marvel pop as well. I'm trying to get him to get more of the Office pops, because he's a big US Office fan like me, and the only Office pop he's got is the one he won from a giveaway I did of Michael Scott. A third person to tag who will enjoy doing this. I'll tag Not Suitable for Mum, why not? Yeah, Not Suitable for Mum, aka Jason Clow, aka Sharto, aka The Flatulent Hobbit. You are also tagged. So my 3 tags, Geeky Heathen, Pop-Tart, Not Suitable for Mum. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this rather long but informative and in-depth tag challenge video. One last round of thank yous to Money's Funko Pops for originally thinking up this tag challenge, and Crazy Stone Gamer for tagging me in it. Thank you to all of my subscribers and my loyal and wonderful patrons over on my Patreon page. Please will you see the link for that if you want more information about how to support me and the work I do on my channel. I'm going to go now, and I do hope that all of you will join me again for another tag video, whichever that may be in the future. Cheers everyone. See ya!